Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Let's Talk to Cutler followers. This is Cutler here in the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast. Today is Thursday. It is April the 22nd already. Can you believe half of the month or over half of the month is already gone? I want to say thank you all for joining me this evening. Have you ever had any of those I just feel good down in my soul days? And just one of those nothing can bother me, nothing can make me feel bad kind of days. Well, listen, for the past few days, I've been on vacation. So you may have noticed just a blank background behind me. But I want to talk about just feeling good down in your soul. And I'll do it right after this, okay?
Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Well, it's me here again on the Let's Talk to Color broadcast. I want to say thank you all. Listen, if this is your first time tuning in, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Once you subscribe, make sure you click on that bell down there, the notification bell. It lets me know that it will let you rather know whenever I'm live, whenever I've uploaded new content. And again, if you're new to the channel, come on in. This channel is just about feeling good. It's about inspiration. It's about motivation. It's about riding along the highway, making sure that we are reading the billboards and we're applying all these different billboards to our life. Now, where do we get these billboards from, you might ask? These billboards are coming from this book right here, Billboards to Better, 366 Daily Sources of Motivation and Inspiration Along the Highway of Life. It's my 7th book, and it's filled with lots of inspirational quotes and sayings. And so that's what we're doing. We meet here every Tuesday and Thursday. We talk about those quotes. I sort of unpack them, unravel them, and we talk about them tongue in cheek, and we leave feeling better than we did when we first came in. All right. So whatever space you're sharing with me, whether it's your living room, your bedroom, your front porch, your back porch, your car, your den, your family room, your kitchen, wherever it is, I want to say thank you so much. And in just a moment, I'll just put the names of the LTTC VIPs in the chat room. The LTTC VIPs are those who tend to show up first. They're the early birds. People say it's the early birds who get the worm. Well, here it's everybody who gets the worm. All right. But again, thank you so much. And so what we do on Tuesdays, we will read our quotes from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then on Thursday we will read the quote from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By the time you get to Saturday, you take that quote, you read it, do whatever you want to do with it. If you want to use it as part of your meditation, if you want to use it as a conversation starter, it's totally up to you. Now, just in case you're interested in the book and you want to know where can I get your book, that book, Billboards to Better, you can go right here to www.gbcutler.com. That's my website. Or you can just go on over to Amazon.com and get it. All right. But wherever you do, let me just assure you, you don't need the book to join the conversation. So make sure you join the conversation, but it helps to have the book. All right. I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to just have one of those. I think it was President Franklin Delano Roosevelt who used to have what he called fireside chats. And this evening, our quotes really offers that kind of thing. So I want to have fireside chats and I want to get your input. So if you're joining the chat it up with me. All right. I want to start with our quote from yesterday, which was April 21st. And the quote says, I get excited when God is blessing my neighbor because at least he's in my community. I get excited when God is blessing my neighbor because at least he's in my community. This quote says to me, there are times when you have to really just learn how to rejoice for your brothers and your sisters and your neighbors and learn to be genuinely happy for them. Why? Because we are all connected one way or another. People tend to say 6 degrees of separation. I just really believe that there's 1 degree of separation. And that 1 degree of separation is what I call humanity. I may have never known you before, may have never met you, may have never had an encounter with you. But the one thing I know is that we are in this thing called the human experience together. We don't necessarily have to get along. We don't have to agree about everything. And in these days and times, we don't. There's so many things where we can disagree on, so many things where we can fuss and fight about. But on the other hand, there's so many things that we have in common. We bleed the same color blood. We all want love. We want affection. We want attention. We want warmth. We just want to feel to feel good. We want to prosper. We want to be in good health, all of those sorts of things. So when we look at what's going on in the lives of our brothers and our sisters, it does not lend itself to jealousy. It does not lend itself to being envious. I'm always amazed at people who can look at something that someone else has and then form an opinion about who they are just because of what they have. And then I look in amazement at people who can look at what other folk have and then wish so much for them not to have it and then wish upon themselves so that they can have it. That to me seems to undermine what we are all about. It seems to undermine why we are all here. It undermines the very word that we call ourselves human. There to me is nothing human about wanting to take the good of someone else and bring it upon yourself. If it's a matter of spreading wealth, then let's spread it. Let's do the best we can. But when it comes to just being envious, there's something dark about being envious and not wanting someone else to have. And then there's also something equally dark when it comes to being jealous. Why in the world would you be jealous of somebody else? You don't know their struggle. You don't know their journey. You don't know what it took for them to accomplish the things that they have accomplished. We don't know what it took for them to obtain or attain the things that they have obtained or attained. We don't know what another person's path has been like for them to reach what even looks like a modicum of success. So why even be jealous? Why even be envious? And that really is what our quote is about tonight. I don't have to be envious because if the truth be told, I get so excited when I see people doing well. I get excited when people succeed. I get excited when people accomplish their goals. And I suspect that it is the same way with you. So let's just let's bottle up this excitement and let's share. So one of the things that I want you to do this evening is make sure that you share our conversation, because this is about being able to rejoice with our brothers and being able to be happy for our sisters. And our brothers and sisters are just people who are in humanity with us. I've always enjoyed riding through communities and seeing people do well. I've always enjoyed meeting with family members over the holidays and hearing about them doing well. I've always enjoyed getting text messages or reading social media posts about people who are doing well. And the quote says, I get excited when God is blessing my neighbor. And my neighbor doesn't necessarily have to be in a geographic sense. It doesn't have to be the person who's in the house next door to my left or to my right, or who's here in the cul-de-sac with me. But my neighbor is the people who I share this experience with, this experience that is called humanity, this experience that is called creation. I genuinely get happy for people when they're doing well. And I trust that you do the same thing. And if you haven't been, then just make a concerted effort. Just be intentional about walking out and walking about and getting happy for someone else who has accomplished something. Get excited, because it says we are all in this human experience together. And whatever you believe the Creator to be, I choose to believe the Creator to be God. If God can rain blessings down on my neighbors, whether they're to my left or to my right, down the road in another state or even in another country, I am of the opinion that he can do the same thing for me. I'm of the opinion that he loves me no less than them. And so I get excited, genuinely excited. I rejoice because I believe in the possibility that what they have, I can now have. Let's get excited. Let's get excited for people when they do good. Get excited for them when they succeed. Get excited for them when they accomplish. Why? Because someone used to say, you can get excited because you're next in line. I don't know whether I'm next in line or not, but I feel good down in my soul. And this evening it's about feeling good down in my soul. I get excited and I feel good down in my soul, not necessarily because I'm next in line, but because at least I'm in line. All right, I want to move on to our next quote. And again, just in case you're joining the conversation for the first time, make sure that you click a thumbs up on the conversation. It encourages me and lets me know that to some degree you appreciate our conversation. We're reading from this book right here, billboards to better, 366 daily sources of motivation and inspiration along the highway of life. One of the things that I say about those of you who are joining me, I choose to call you passengers. I choose to call you passengers because we are all in this big vehicle together, and we're just riding along the highway. We're reading the billboards and we're picking up passengers all along as we go. And if this proverbial vehicle becomes too crowded, guess what? We're just going to start another one. We're going to start a caravan. All right, I want to move on to the quote for today, April 22nd. And this quote says, God's way of making sure that even if God's got a way of making sure that even if you're out of his will, you're never out of his reach. If you're never, he has a way of making sure that even if you're out of his will, you're never out of his reach. He knows how to bring righteousness to the wayward and guidance to the lost. I need to dissect this and break it down, but I want to talk about that first part first, that even if you're out of his will, you're never out of his reach. Someone has asked, and they continue to ask, what kind of platform is this? Is this just a religious platform? And I tend to say to them, it's faith-based and it's spiritual, because I believe in people just being whole and holistically well. And so this tends to speak to people who think, I'm not overly religious. And a lot of people may say, hey, I'm not overly religious, but I am spiritual. I want to speak to those. I want to speak to anybody who's tuning in and who comes across this broadcast. And I want you to know whether you are deeply religious, surface religious, or not religious at all. This quote speaks to the fact that no matter what one's life looks like, there's always what I call an opportunity for rehabilitation, an opportunity for redemption. I don't believe that anybody's life is so dark that they can't be pointed to light. I don't believe that anybody's life is so far gone that it can't be redeemed. I just don't believe that anybody's life is so deep that they so deep down at the bottom until they can't spring forward and start ascending to the top. I just don't believe that. And so that's why this quote says, God's got a way of making sure that even if you're out of his will, think about it. There were times when you may have done something that your parents or your guardians didn't necessarily want you to do. So you are out of the will of your parents. You are out of the will of your guardian, which means that you were not in accordance with what they would want for your life. You were not in accordance with the kind of behavior that they would have wanted you to execute. But the wonderful part about it is that you were still within their reach. You were still within their reach, within their ability to grab you and to pull you in and to hold you and to hug you and sometimes to even offer you correction. It is the same way I choose to believe on a spiritual platform. It is the same way that I choose to believe on a spiritual plateau, that there are times when people look like they're wayward. If your faith is anything like mine, or if your tenets or your Christian tenets or the tenets of your faith are anything like mine, there are times when we believe that people can be what I call off-centered. I talked about being out of control yesterday, but there are times when people can be on different divergent paths, and they may not necessarily be dotting every I, crossing every T, because sometimes we don't do that ourselves, but they can be leading different lives or different kinds of behaviors or lifestyles, or engaged in so many things until, in our self-righteousness and sometimes our judgment, we tend to think, oh, that is not good. That's not a good move. That's not a good way. That's not a good look. But the thing about it is this, you all, that no matter what people are doing, and this is a call for us not to be judgmental. That's what this quote is about. It's a call for us not to be judgmental nor to be condemning. Why? Because even if a person is, as some might believe to be, outside of the will of God and doing all kinds of things up and down and left and right and in and out, it does not matter. That does not define or dictate God's inability to reach them. That's where I'm going with this quote. Whatever they're doing, it does not have any inkling upon God's ability to reach them. So whether they're out of his will or not, they're still not out of his reach. Just like a parent would say, it doesn't matter where my child is, I'm going to get my child. Child could be in a crack house, but I'm going to get my child. Child could be out walking the streets, experiencing all kinds of mental illnesses or what have you. A parent would say, I'm going to get my child. I can only imagine that if any parents are joining, if any parents are tuning in, they may think, yeah, my child didn't always do everything that I wanted him or her to do. But guess what? That nonetheless is my child. All right. So then, God's got a way of making sure that even if you're out of his will, you are never out of his reach. And then the second part of that quote says, he knows how to bring righteousness to the wayward and guidance to the lost. Again, this quote is about knowing and understanding. Mika, it is so good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, uh, this quote is all about the fact that God knows how to bring righteousness to the wayward and guidance to the lost. So, for those people that you are yearning for, those people that you have a passion for, those people that you are praying for, understand that God has the ability to reach them. Nobody is so far gone that he can't reach them. All right. So, I wanted to share that with you. And then I also want to get to another quote. And the next quote is for April the 23rd. And it says, what God intends for you will find you, even if it has to travel through time. This is a reminder, again, what God intends for you will find you, even if it has to travel through time. Why is this what I call one of those I feel good down in my soul moments? It is a I feel good down in my soul moment because it says that what's destined for me, what has my name on it, the tenets of my faith then say to me that God has the ability to get it to me, even if it has to travel through time. I said in this book that God's promise has the power to penetrate through generations. God made a promise to Abraham that was manifested through the coming of Jesus Christ. So what am I saying? I'm saying that if God made us a promise 15, 20 years ago, he has the ability to penetrate time and specifically and precisely bring it right to us and bring it right to us where we are, right when we are, and right how we are. And so I want you to feel good down in your soul because whatever he intends for us, he has the ability to travel through time. I said to someone the other day when I was driving on the highway, what is amazing to me is that when I asked, I was praying and I always said, God, be with me. But what I understood you all was that I wanted him to be with me now, but I also wanted him to be 2 or 3 hours up the highway. And he has the ability to be every when and everywhere. Feel good down in your soul because what is destined for you, it is irrevocably yours. What does that mean? It means irrevocably. It means it has a yes on it. It has your name on it, and it can't be denied. It can't be subverted. It can't be diverted. It can't be thwarted at all. But it is undeniably yours. And feel good in your soul about it. All right? So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for sharing this time and sharing this space. And when we talk about feeling good down in our soul, here is what I want to do. I want to share this with you. I got 2 poems I want to share with you. All right. So here's what I want to do. Out of this book, Who We Once Were, is another book that I wrote. Make sure that you go to my website, www.gbcutler.com, and take a look at it. All right. All of these books, they are there. Let me make sure I get to this page. Let me make sure that I get here. And I want to read and share this with you. And it's called Lifetimes and Waterfalls. Yesterday, I told myself that tomorrow I would wake up and go back in time, way back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lifetimes ago, I couldn't face the strength of your embrace. You didn't hold me. You didn't scold me. You didn't love me like you do now. 5 lifetimes ago, I was void of the resolution that takes me through the valley, lifts my head, and reassures me of companionship. Tomorrow, I will turn around and step forward in time, far beyond my greatest strides, so far. 5, 4, 3, to empty battlefields where hopes and dreams, colorful dreams, are led into war. How? By Roman soldiers and Greek generals. To an impenetrable wall, a Jericho wall that is brought down by the strength of 5, 4, 3, 2, one heart and one hand. Loving heart, warm human hand with 5 lifetimes. Yesterday, tomorrow, and today. I will take you through the 5 lifetimes that gave me resolution, constitution, and peace so that you can give them to someone else. Got one more for you before I go, all right? Just one more. And the title of this poem is also from this book, Who We Once Were. The title of it is What's Mine Is Yours. And it says, gazing into a shrouded mirror, sunshine redeemed by reflections of midnight, exposed a sore in my soul, a wound without bandage, ointment, or salve. Lacerations running deep for the first time, making me weep. What manner of looking glass had I beheld, diminishing my constitution after I fell, forcing me prostrate before a throne, where eyes could not see and strength was unknown. Desiring to know so much more, living and yearning, my brother's hand, my sister's heart, and God's breath, after the ninth inning and fourth quarter, and collecting the prize that I could not exchange. An open door into a valley where I had lived before. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Does anybody hear the call of this poor man crouching and crying, close to dying, just wanting someone to say, what's mine, what's yours is mine, at least for a fraction of a day? If I can know you, then all my good will be as it should, and all your defeat will soon take a seat in the wounds of my soul, where the healing begins. I am here every Tuesday, every Thursday. And again, if you subscribe to my channel, if you click on that notification bell, it will let you know when I've gone live, when I've uploaded new content. And please know this, one of the things that I often say here when I leave every broadcast, let us continue building community. Let's continue maintaining connectivity. Do me a favor, y'all, keep your heads up. But more than that, keep your hopes up. Stay safe, stay sane. And as I always say, please know that from my heart to yours, thank you for joining. Just know there is much love. Until next time I see you. Bye-bye.